Welcome back to CIT 157, Module 3-5. This is the last part of Module 3. Today, you will create a form with a variety of elements. In the form, you will use a post or get method. Chapter 14 is the last chapter of Header First HTML and CSS. Download files and prepare the class activity. In this activity, you will create a form. A form is basically a web page with input fields that allows you to enter information. When the form is submitted, the information is packaged up and sent off to a web server to be processed by a server script. Open form HTML and add the codes in the body. The form element not only does it hold all the elements that make up the form, but it also tells the browser where to send your form data when you submit the form. The text input element is for entering one line of text. Optional attribute let you send a maximum number of characters and the width of this control. The submit input element creates a button that allows you to submit a form. When you click this button, the browser sends the form to the server script for processing. This shows the process of form.html. This is an example of PHP, which is one of server-side languages to respond to form.html. However, it is out of our scope. Take next level of CIT classes for this. In this activity, you will compare post and get method. There are two possible values for the method attribute of the form tag. In a form using the post method, when the submit button is clicked, the web browser contacts the server on which the form processing script is located, then sends all of the data from the form to the script. In a form using the get method, when the submit button is clicked, the web browser appends all of the data from the form to the end of the URL specified in the action attribute, then contact the web server with the extended URL. To see the result with get method, replace post with get in the form.html. When you put names and click submit button, you will see the names are attached at the end of URL in address bar. So you should never use get for password or private information. In this activity, you will see a lot of elements. However, there is no hands-on activity. You will practice them in activity 4. The radio input element creates a single control with several buttons, only one of which can be selected at any time. A checkbox input element creates a checkbox control that can be either checked or unchecked. The text area element creates a multi-line text area that you can type into. The select element creates a menu control in the web page. The select element works in combination with the option element below to create a menu. The option element works with the select element to create a menu. The number input element restricts input to number. The range input element is similar to number except that it displays a slider instead of an input box. Use the color input to specify a color. Use the date input element to specify a date with a date picker control. There are the email, tel, or URL input elements. You may use name or ID attribute to manage submitted data later. Not all browsers may fully support these input types yet. In this activity, you will create the stubs.html with previous input elements in a form. In step 1, insert the form element with action and method attribute. In step 2, add the select element in the beginning of a form element. In step 3, add the input type radio element. In step 4, add the number, date, and checkbox. In step 5, add the text and tel for users' general information. In step 6, add the text area and submit button at the bottom. This is the result. Now submit internet URLs after all activities. This is the end of Module 3. Congratulations! Now you can create the basic web pages with HTML, CSS, and form. Of course, this is just the first step to develop web pages. So keep going to next step. I will see you in Module 4 with the JavaScript.